Well, hello everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back and I have a special video for a good friend of mine, Bison a Birdie. So stay with me. I hope you enjoy the video today. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got a very special package from one of my subscribers, a very loyal guy, Bison a Birdie. He sent me a bunch of 45 bullets. These are 230 grain, round nose, full metal jacket. So he sent me 50 of those, and he sent me 50 pieces of brand new brass. This is all 45 ACP. He also sent me some CCI large pistol primers, which I've already put in my flip tray. And look at that, they're already all oriented the correct way. So I'm going to flip this flip tray over, and what my objective is for this video today is this is just a special video for Bison. You know, it's the 45 ACP stuff that he sent me out of the kindness of his heart. I can't say enough about this. I'm very, very thankful. I'm very humbled by that. So here is what we're going to load today. So we have 45 ACP. We're going to use CCI large pistol primers, number 300. We're going to use a jacketed round nose, 230 grain bullet. We are going to be using Olight unique powder, and the spectrum is anywhere from 4.4 all the way to 6.4 grains of powder. But our charge weight today, our goal is 5.5 grains of powder. Somewhere, as long as we're within that spectrum, we're good to go. Now the brass is trim length of 0.898, and our overall length on our completed cartridge is 1.275. So that's the load data that we're hoping to aim for today in this video. So I'm going to take my large primer pickup tube, and I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to spend a little time here briefly. I'm not going to sit here and bore you guys through the whole process, but we're going to pick up these primers, and I'll see you in a second when I'm just about done. We're almost done here, picking these babies up. There we go. We have all 100 primers, in this tube. So there's plenty of brass. Look at this brass. This is brand new brass. It's already been cleaned. This has never been fired. I'm just really, really humbled by this. You know, I didn't expect this package. It was really cool. Here's a look at the press that I'm going to be using today. This is a DILLON 550B. This is an older press. I've had this one a long time. And what I want to do is I want to take a look at this chute right here. This is the primer arm. This is where I'm going to seat these primers. Now, what I would generally do is I would set this thing up here and I would pull the hitch pin and the primers will fall into the system. But I'm not going to do that today because I've already filled this just recently. I was already reloading a few minutes ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my low primer alarm. I'm going to set that on, and I'm going to put this follow rod down. You can see that it's nice and high. That means it's full of primers. But in the event that the primers get low, this little weight comes down, and then what will happen is it'll catch this thing here and it'll warn me that I'm low on primers. So I'm doing good on primers. I've got my powder measure full of Olight Unique, and it's time to get started loading progressively. Okay, a couple of things real quick. I'm going to take all this brass and I'm going to put it into this little Rubbermaid tin. Put all the brass in there. There's a total of approximately 50 rounds of brass. And I'm going to take some DILLON case lube, which is alcohol and lanolin. I'm going to shake it up a little bit. And I'm going to give these guys a couple little squirts. Shake them a little bit. This step is not necessary. It's just something that I prefer to do. I believe that lubing your brass is always better than not lubing your brass. Now, another thing I want to talk about very briefly is you can see right here I have my powder. I have Olight Unique, and I'm going to set it right next to the press. That way there's no doubt about what type of powder I'm using for this process. Okay, over here on the other side of the press, I got a couple things going on. I am going to set the bullets right there on the bench for now. Behind the press, you can see I have my recipe with my load data. I've got my scale here. I'm going to verify my load, my powder charge here in a minute. I have my digital calipers also ready to go. And since these bullets, even though they're two different manufacturers of bullets, they're both 230 grain round nose bullets, and they're both these ones are just a little shinier than those other ones, but for the most part they're the same thing. So I'm just going to set the bullets right here so they're quick access, easy for me to grab. At this point I'm going to let the brass sit for about 10 minutes to allow the alcohol to evaporate off. Okay, I need this alcohol to go away, and what will be left behind will be the lanolin, and then we'll be able to start loading. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to take a lubricated piece of brass. I'm going to put it in station 1, and what's going to happen when I raise the ram, this brass is going to go up and it's going to decap, which these are not capped, they don't have primers in them, but in the event that they did, it would decap the primer, knock the old primer out, and it would resize the case. And on the forward stroke, you'll see the little primer arm right here. It's carrying a primer forward. Once I get here to the home, I'm going to push forward on the ram, and that's going to seat my very first primer into these brand new cases. Look at that. When I run my finger across, I want to make sure that those cases, that those primers are seated flush or just a little bit below flush. From here, I'm going to index forward, put another piece on station 1, and let's go over here to the other side of the press. Bear with me on this crazy camera work. Okay, from here, I'm going to remove this brass locator pin because I want to verify my powder charge. Now this case is the one that we indexed over from station 1. It's already primed. So what I'm going to do just very quickly is I'm going to turn on my scale, and I'm going to have this piece of brass already sitting on the scale. And what's going to happen here with the scale is it's going to zero to that piece of brass. So as I push this on, it'll zero to that piece of brass, and now I can take that, put it in the press, raise the ram, and two things are going to happen. I'm going to be expanding the case mouth and feeding it with a powder charge. So my powder charge is 6.2. We actually want 5.5, so I'm going to make a small adjustment right quick. I'm going to pour this out into the top here, and I'm going to get a new powder charge. Let's take a look, see what we have. Okay, much better, 5.7. I made that little adjustment. Now that's close enough for what I'm looking for. I'm going to rotate this forward. Let me make sure I have a primer here. See the primer in station 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put another case in station 1. 2 is going to flare the case mouth, because the reason I need to flare the case mouth is because the bullet won't just fit right into the case the way it comes from the factory. So what I have to do is I have to take the ends of the case mouth and I have to flare them out so that the bullet will fit. So that's what station 2 is doing. I'm looking here at station 3, and I'm noticing that there's a powder charge, and you can also see that I placed the bullet there. Station 1 is going to decap and resize, 2 is going to flare, 3 is going to seat. Just like this. 1 is going to prime. We've just seated a bullet. We've just flared and gave it a powder charge. We've just primed. Let's go here. We're going to verify that we have a bullet in station 3. Now station 4, what's going to happen is it's going to take that crimp out, and it's going to put it back to the factory with a little bit of a taper. Now let's index forward, and we have our first completed round. So let's take a look at that first round. Boy, that looks nice. So I'm going to take a small rag over here and I'm going to wipe off any of the excess lubricant, and I want to check this round against my case length gauge and make sure that it just falls in there nice and smooth. And look at that, look at how smooth that fell in there. That's what we want. This is mimicking the chamber of our firearm. This case length gauge that I'm using right now is made by DILLON. You can find another one made by Lyman. I happened to get this one from my fellow YouTube brother Jason Williams. He sent this to me as a gift. You can see that it does multiple calibers, but 45 ACP is the one that we're wanting to check it against, and everything looks good. So we have good headspace on that bullet. Now we get to start moving forward and continue with our operation. So I'm looking at 3. It's got powder. Let's go up. There we go. And now we have the bases loaded, so to speak. So every crank of the handle at this point, we are going to have a completed round. Every time we crank the handle. Now it's very important to make sure that we verify station 3 every single time. Make sure that we have powder there. I like this press because it's a manual index press. Every so often, it's a good idea to check the operation. When you get one of these bullets off the line, I like to check them at random against my case length gauge and make sure that they're still putting out good ammunition. So there we go, we just got one off the chute again. We're going to rub it down, get it nice and clean. Let's check it against our case length gauge. Boom. Fits in there nice and nice round. So let's just keep going. So we're going to keep going. We're making sure that we have powder. Up, down, prime. Rotate. Check for powder. Put a case in station 1. See the bullet. Primer arm comes back. See the primer. This is a beautiful process. And these DILLON 550Bs are very nice presses. I keep dropping bullets though here. Maybe I need to invest in a bullet tray. Let's keep going. Once you get the press set up for progressive operation, once you get the bases loaded, so to speak, the operation goes fairly quickly. You don't have any issues. As long as we don't miss a powder charge. So I'm going to finish this other batch here. This last little bit of bullets. And then I will add those real shiny ones. It's a beautiful press. It operates good. I've had this one a long time. And it's never let me down. So now we are going to be starting the new bullets. Right there. Look at them shiny babies right there. Them are beautiful. 1. So we're almost done. Things are going well. as you finish with your brass, you just continue the operation until you get the cycle complete, and then you're finished. So there are our rounds that we just put out thanks to Bison a Birdie. 1.2745, so we're right on the money. So the bullet length is perfect. We are gonna check them against the case length gauge, make sure they fall in, and when they do, as they're completed, I want to say thank you again to Bison a Birdie. He sent me this universal loading tray. So folks, I want to say thank you today for joining me on this video. This was a special video for Bison a Birdie. And Bison, I want to say thank you for sending me the goodies. I really appreciate that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very humbled that you sent me this stuff to do these bullets. It just blows me away, the kindness of some of the people that enjoy my work. I hope you guys got some good, useful information out of this video. Please feel free to leave your comments down below, like this video, share this video, and if you like the type of content that you see on my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you. And until next time, thanks again everybody, and thank you Bison a Birdie. I'm very humbled right now, I really am. Look at this beautiful ammunition. You know, I couldn't have done this without you. Just having the resources to be able to do it, having primers and powder and bullets and stuff, brass. Look at how beautiful those loads turned out. They just look nice. I'm going to continue checking these rounds, and life is good, folks. It's a beautiful day. They fit very nice. You guys might be wondering where the last two rounds are. The last two rounds were the rounds that I used to set up my dies originally. So there's the last two rounds right there. So there you have it, folks. 50 rounds. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.